First and foremost, shout out to the homie Jew, aka the light-skinned black avatar, bro. That boy swole. Y'all seen that boy Instagram? Anyway, bro, listen, I feel like anytime a person like him calls out a person like Officer Tatum, an angel gets his wings. So we're not gonna waste no time, but I need y'all to
Hype me up.
I need that.
Hype me up.
Officer Tatum is really out here still crashing out and defending Charlie Kirk.
What a
you cannot
loser.
tell me, as somebody who knew Charlie, that he was a racist. He wasn't. So don't you say nothing about Charlie being a racist unless you have evidence. Outside of that, you're lying and you're pushing conspiracies that got Charlie Kirk killed.
To the point that this goofball really said black people were better off during slavery.
Charlie Kirk said black men like you were better off during slavery. Do you agree with him?
Now listen, 100%.
Nigga, go bleach your skin. Just go ahead on and get it over with. Shit, bro.
I swear, black MAGA gets dumber and dumber.
Trying to figure out, Officer Tatum, what the hell is wrong with looking at yourself as black first before you're anything else, black before you're American, black before you're anything else. What's wrong?
He's genuinely confused. He don't understand the question, the asking of the question. He understand the question, but he like, really? It's America first.
Okay, because all black people ain't the same, and like for instance, we all different. So when I say I'm black, what does that mean?
Or again, this man, Officer Tatum, lying about American history, throwing the black community under the bus just to make Charlie Kirk look better.
This shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil, but what happened? Something changed. They committed less crimes.
Maybe they were afraid. I mean, 4,000 black men, women, and children were killed in violent lynch mobs.
That's your explanation.
But I'm Jew. Welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it.
Do you think that Charlie Kirk was a racist?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, he said that black
Charlie
people were
Kirk
better
spewed
off during
hatred?
slavery.
No. Do you think that Charlie Kirk spewed hatred?
Yes, absolutely. This man wouldn't want to fly on a plane with a black pilot. How much more racist do you need to get?
It begs the question, when you see a black pilot, you wonder, you say, I hope they are qualified.
Or him.
Hey, look, my thing is this. If he says you see a black pilot and you hope that they are qualified, that means when he sees a black surgeon, he hopes they're qualified. If he sees a black, I don't know, captain on a cruise ship, I hope they're qualified. A railroad conductor, I hope they're qualified. A plumber shows up to his house that works for a company he, reached out to, I hope they're qualified. Bro, come on now. Really? Yes, he's racist.
Saying black women don't have the same brain processing power as white counterparts.
Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. Yeah, we know you do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously.
And you ain't had a neck processing. You know what? I'm not going to take it there. I promise you, I'm not going to take it there. We're going to keep it PG.
You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat serious.
The fact that he even said it's a white person's slot. So I think we can all agree pretty objectively that Charlie Kirk was an anti-black racist.
Yeah, I'll say it to you. He thought you, as a black man, were better off during slavery.
Foolery that you're saying right now is what got him killed. The leftist nut jobs pushing the same stupidity that you're saying right now is the reason why Tyler Robinson killed Charlie. This is exactly the same thing. You should be condemned.
So he's condemning everybody else for critiquing Charlie Kirk and not agreeing with his racist message, but not critiquing or condemning Charlie Kirk for having a racist message to start with. The twisted logic that anti-black sellouts like Officer Tatum have to function under is insane.
Can't criticize somebody.
Silly.
So you're saying
you can't lie. You cannot lie about
any criticism, if you level any criticism of somebody, then you are responsible for their death?
Hey, bro, I thought I'd never see the day when I see a black man arguing the case for a white man who's clearly a racist, not being racist, against white men who's trying to convince him that the guy was racist. I've never seen no shit like that a day in my life, bro. It'll be the reverse, if anything. Boy, Officer Tatum has no shame.
I'm black and I didn't get offended. Yeah, we know, weak link, weak ass bitch. We can smell that shit on you, weak ass.
I ain't broke that sound bite out in a while, but it just was more than it needed to be done on this one.
You can't lie about them. The lies is what caused a person like Tyler Robinson to kill Charlie. Lies. He was not racist. He was not hateful. He did not spew hate. He was a man of courage. He had integrity, and he was fair. If you disagree with him, he let you come to the front of the line and you can have your disagreement.
This man is still crashing out over his zaddy.
Officer Tatum and his opinions on men crying. Let me make sure I know exact. 2 years ago about men crying, he said some interesting things.
I would never cry for my wife.
Really?
That you'll cry in front of us.
What if your kid died?
That's a different thing. I mean, I would try not to cry in front of my wife.
Not crying when your kid dies or at your father's funeral, if you had a relationship with your father, is insane.
I'm very angry because
He said all that about not crying if his kid died, not crying in front of his wife, not crying at his father's funeral because he wants his father to know that he compartmentalized and is able to handle his emotions, but will cry on camera in front of the world with Charlie Kirk, but not his dad or his kid if they pass.
You don't get your lick back.
Oh man, dude's such a contradiction.
4 million
bro.
views just watching him cry.
Charlie Kirk said black men like you were better off during slavery. Do you agree with him?
Now listen,
Of course I agree.
100%.
Okay.
You believe 100%?
Now what?
This man just sat on a panel and said black people, the black community was better off during slavery, when we didn't have rights, when we were considered property, when men and women could be raped at any time, when we were forced to breed like cattle and could have our family members taken away at any moment.
In the 19th.
Hey, bro, hold on, man. I was talking to my nephew grandmother, right? I was talking to his grandmother. His great grandmother, actually. She's in her 90s. She from the lower Ninth Ward, New Orleans. She told me she grew up on Tupelo Street. She said if you saw a white person walking down the sidewalk when you was walking towards them, it was understood you being the black person, the lesser of the society, you have to cross the street as a sign of respect or whatever she told me. I forgot what it was. That was in like the 60s when she was a little girl. Come on, man. Not even a little girl. She was a young woman. And you telling me the 1940s was any better? Come on now. Let's be real, bro.
30s, the U.S. government tried to document living memories of slavery. They expected nostalgia, but instead they got horror, and they buried most of it. Sarah Gujar, born around 1816, remembered it clearly. She said night and day, it was all work. No rest, no play. The lash was going all the time. Work till you dropped. Dreams beaten out before they could even form. Fountain Hughes, born in Virginia, said in his own voice, when we were slaves, we belonged to people. They sold us like they sell horses and cows and hogs. Owned, used, discarded. And then there's Millie Barber, who told a truth so sharp, it'll leave you bleeding if you listen closely. Well, my pa belongs to one man. My ma belongs to another. 4 or 5 miles apart caused some confusion, mix-up, and heartaches. My pa have to get a pass to come see my mama. And he comes sometimes without the pass. Controllers catch him way up the chimney hiding one night. They stripped him right before my mom and gave him 39 lashes, with her crying and hollering louder than he did.
Imagine the person witnessing the lashing, crying harder than the person experiencing the lashing. The mental trauma that comes with, bro. Like, bro, they be trying to downplay this shit, man. This is wild.
Let that sit for a minute.
When we were beaten, whipped, shot, stabbed, hung for anything, for nothing most times. When we had to work from sun up to sundown and only had leftover slop to eat.
She talked about how they used to use slaves' hair and skin for cushion, but it goes even deeper than that. It wasn't just their hair and skin. They used every single piece of their body for something, and it did not stop at furniture. They used it for everything. Clothes, accessories, food. Yes, they had entire cookbooks on how to cook slaves. She talked about how they used slaves' teeth as dentures. It did not stop there. Science continued to evolve in those 400 years of slavery. With that being said, they weren't doing science experiments on monkeys. They were doing them on slaves. They needed to test out a new vaccine. Who do you think they went to? Or somebody needed a new prosthetic. Where do you think they got that from? The best way that I can summarize all this is the same things that we do to animals now. It's the same things that they did to slaves back then, because that's who they thought of them as. They did not just do foul things to the women. They did it to the men and the children. You think those fouls are bad now. Just imagine what they were doing back then. They thought that one of their slaves was the leader. What they would do is tie him up in front of everybody and do everything that you can imagine to him. Everything.
But yeah,
they had to make an example out of him, bro. Now, when I'm older, it makes sense why they made sure that they didn't teach slaves how to read and how to write. Could you imagine them forgetting to, exclude certain stories out of the Bible, specifically the story of people who were in bondage and slavery, freeing themselves? Could you imagine what that would do to like the confidence of a person who's in bondage currently? Hold on, you mean to tell me that these other people were in bondage for thousands of years and they figured out how to get out, man? Maybe we could too. You know, you don't want them reading stories about people uprising and leaders arising from like nothing and freeing their people and leading their people to freedom and stuff like that. Like, you don't want no slave reading no shit like that, bro. It might cause a rebellion. You can't have them getting inspired, and that's what books do. Books inspire you. Makes a lot of sense.
Into this goofy, black people were better off back then.
In black history, and you don't understand what Charlie was saying. Listen, after slavery, there was an explosion of success in the black community. We had Black Wall Street. We were married to the women we had children with. Black people had a tremendous amount of success. Our success was growing faster than white people during that period of time. Now look at us.
These black...
Hold on, Jew. Let me not to stop you or interrupt you, but bro, you forgot the part when the people that you trying to protect came and destroyed that shit. Why you left that out conveniently? You ain't want to include that, huh? It goes against your narrative. Fat face ass.
Conservatives always say this, just like they say the Republicans were the party that freed the slaves. They always use those same talking points, but leave out all the context behind it. It's very true that groups of black people were doing well before civil rights due to segregation. We had to have our own towns or parts of towns where we had our own stores, our own cleaners, our own carpenters, our own schools, our own doctors. We depended on each other. We practiced group economics and we succeeded as a community.
Any black person here in this auditorium today that's more than 50 years of age can tell you what you used to have. You used to have theaters and bus companies, cab companies. You used to have almost everything that whites had.
However, during that time period, there was extreme racism. Black people could be strung up for absolutely nothing. The KKK was terrorizing the South. Black people didn't have rights. Due to discriminatory banking practices, we couldn't get loans. Jim Crow brought in redlining, where we couldn't buy homes where we wanted. They told us where we could live and where we couldn't live. We couldn't get loans to open up businesses in our own communities. Our grandfathers, great-grandfathers would serve in the military and not even be able to get their VA loans, while white soldiers and veterans were able to get VA loans to buy houses to go to school free.
Hey, look, also, I told y'all before, if you're an OG Rich by Design follower, bro, there was this Mississippi politician by the name of James Vardigan. Just go and read and study up how he felt about black men serving in the military. Like, yeah, you can serve in it. Don't mean when you get back, we're going to treat you like you a citizen. Come on, man. These black folks tripping, bro. See, that's the problem. If we allow them to go serve in the army, they're going to come back feeling entitled to what whites are entitled to. That's what he had to say. And then he went on to become state governor or something like that, bro. Mississippi. Look into that.
To mention, anytime black people built a town or businesses that succeeded or flourished too much, they were destroyed by racist, white, jealous people that just did not want black people to get ahead.
Every generation, black people in this country built something real. Whether it's neighborhoods, banks, grocery stores, or businesses.
Or the White House.
Every generation, it was taken, not lost. Taken. You may have heard of Tulsa, aka Black Wall Street, which is still widely untaught history. There are many more examples of white people burning down towns, killing black people with mob violence, every political tactic possible to ensure that we weren't able to thrive on our own. That level of obsession is deeply rooted in the DNA of America because white people never wanted black people to supersede them in any way. In 1921, Greenwood, Oklahoma had 35 blocks of black-owned businesses, hotels, law offices, a hospital, black doctors treating black patients, black lawyers keeping black money in black hands. In the middle of Jim Crow, Oklahoma had built something that didn't need white people to survive. That was the threat. Official trigger was an accusation against a young black man named Dick Rowland. The alleged victim never pressed charges. The case was dropped. But it didn't matter because the accusation was never really the point. It was an excuse to take out their envy and jealousy on black people who had the audacity to build and be successful. Within 24 hours, white mobs, some of them deputized by local officials, burned 35 blocks to the ground, shot people in the streets, dropped incendiary devices from private planes, 300 people killed, 10,000 left homeless. Then the city passed ordinances to make it illegal to rebuild. That is a coordinated economic assassination and systematic oppression, all because of black success. Rosewood, Elaine, Atlanta, East St. Louis, Springfield, Illinois, Skool, Texas, Ochoa, Florida, different years, different triggers, the same pattern. A black community builds something real. White resentment reaches a boiling point and they set it on fire with absolutely zero consequence.
To leave out...
Hold on, bro. Look, check this out. This remind me of modern day shit like Tulsa, Oklahoma. Them black folks was secluded. They were by themselves, basically segregated, doing their own thing, had their own GDP and everything like that, right? not bothering no white folks, but white folks was bothered by them. It kind of reminds me of like my part of town. You know, I'm in New Orleans or whatever, and my part of town is always on the news for something. Ain't hardly no white folks out here, but the news is watched by white folks, and they don't say nothing good about where I live, and they only say bad things about where I live. And white people who don't have no business even coming out here, they don't work out here, they don't live out here. They may drive the interstate that runs through here, but y'all are so concerned with what's going on with where I live. Like, bro, like, how does where I live affect your life? Be on the internet talking shit about like my little part of town and all that. Meanwhile, me and my neighbors ain't even thinking about y'all. It really don't make no sense if you ask me.
Context of the environment that black people had to live in, the constant fear, the constant terrorism, the racial jealousy that could lead to a massacre or a town being destroyed by racist white people is super irresponsible for people like Officer Tatum to leave out, but they always do.
Now go look at any inner city in this country and you see people getting murdered every weekend. The leading cause of murders in this country is by black people. Violent crimes, black people.
He's so
Abortion
proud
at
to say
disproportionate rates, black people. A lot of things that were going well in our communities is going downhill fast after the 60s.
He's using the same exact Charlie Kirk.
Ain't no our community, man. Say their community. You ain't one of us at this point, bro. Like, no. And then you sitting up here talking all this shit. What do you do to help it? Nothing. You take all the money that you make from your white audience and invest into things that's going to basically help you and people that don't look like you. It ain't going to help nobody black. You ain't probably been to a black school to help kids out with lunch, with uniforms, shoes. You ain't been a part of no program, nothing, bro. Like, I want to see what you doing for black folks. If the answer is nothing, why do you continuously talk about black folks in front of white folks? It don't make no sense to me.
Talking points, which Garrison Hayes already addressed and debunked.
As black Americans, about 13 to 14% of the population.
Yes,
about half of all prisoners are black.
Exactly.
So blacks commit more crimes than whites do. They commit more murders, they commit more arsons, they commit more kidnappings. For example, blacks are 13% of the population and they commit 58% of all the murders.
Okay. Let's talk about it. These are obviously racist claims, but I will respond to them as if Charlie Kirk were a reasonable person.
Black Americans are about 13 to 14% of the population.
Yes,
about half of all prisoners are black.
Wrong. Just 38% of America's prison population is black. That's according to the U.S. government. But it makes you wonder why Charlie feels the need to add an additional 12% to the black prison population. Could it be because his bigoted talking points only work if he exaggerates? If Charlie were actually looking for the race that makes up half the prison population in the U.S., he'd look no further than white people at 57%.
Exactly. So blacks commit more crimes than whites do.
Wrong. The word so is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence. He's saying so, as in therefore, as in one could conclude, but Charlie knows he's lying. Even if he hadn't just lied about the black prison population, Charlie is smart enough to know that correlation does not equal causation, but he's hoping that you don't know that. So he deploys the word so to make you think he's coming to an obvious conclusion.
Exactly. So blacks...
Instead, he's making an illogical racist leap. Charlie knows that we don't have usable data about who commits crimes. It's impossible to have that data since so many crimes go both unreported and or unsolved. Charlie knows that we only have data about arrests and convictions. He's interested in making bad faith arguments. Something that becomes...
Look, if we had like, people really tracking all these missing white ladies and white female teenagers and stuff, we can assume with reasonable certainty that they are probably dead somewhere in a shallow grave, but those numbers don't get factored into the homicide numbers because these people are putting them in barrels of acid and letting them dissolve, and they're going, bro, I'm telling you, y'all ever watch them true crime stories and shit, bro? These people know how to get away with it, bro.
Even more obvious in his next point.
Blacks are 13% of the population and they commit 58% of all the murders.
Wrong again, and loud this time. If Charlie were interested in honesty, he would have mentioned the other 1350 statistic. Yes, black people are about 13% of the population, but make up 53% of all criminal exonerations. In fact, black people make up 55% of all murder exonerations specifically. Black people are more likely than any other group in this country to be convicted of crimes they did not commit. Exactly. And then people like you have the nerve to parade these stats around as though they prove something.
It shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil, but what happened? Something changed.
That man just be talking out the side of his neck.
They committed less crimes.
Maybe they were afraid. I mean, 4,000 Black men, women, and children were killed in violent lynch mobs.
That's your explanation, but
racial terror permeated American culture for hundreds of years.
Black America is worse than it has been
that
in the last
affected
80 years.
The generational psyche of
You don't think the government had no play in that, no parts of that? Think about it. What happens when you take resources from a group of people and now they have to, fight over limited resources? What happens when you put programs in place that basically encourages the man not to be in the home? You give us subpar education. You crowd us in one small location on top of each other in the project. Like, what do you think is supposed to happen? Are white people living under those conditions excelling in life? No. Are Hispanic people living in those conditions excelling in life? No. Nobody in those conditions are excelling. Of course, there are going to be a few outliers who make it out for whatever reason. Maybe they were born more gifted, maybe more aware and wise and saw that they needed to get from around that. But for the most part, man, it'd be hard to get out of a situation like that. But then when you have a group of people who don't have no one redlining them, looking over their shoulder whenever they go into a store, and they're just able to live their lives and no one has any bad expectation from them, no negative stereotypes, it's kind of easy to kind of be upwardly mobile when you got that going. I'm going to let you talk your shit.
Entire group of people?
It's because we've been voting for these sorry Democrats for so many years and they've done nothing for black people. And you cannot tell me, as somebody who knew Charlie, that he was a racist. He wasn't. I knew him very well. We did a whole bunch of incredible things in the black community. He helped out with Blexit, our black nonprofit that helped the black community.
Every time one of these guys says somebody wasn't racist because they were my friend and they liked me is the funniest thing in the world, because they are the black friend that racists always talk about having. They really do exist. They're Officer Tatum, they're Gideons, they are out there. And just because he liked a few tokens like Officer Tatum and Candace Owens, or gave them a pat on the head when they said something anti-black or inflammatory, doesn't mean he wasn't racist.
We took 400 black conservatives to the White House for the first time in history. So don't you say nothing about...
I'm supposed to be happy that you took a bunch of Candace Owens, Cartier families, who else? Yourself, Hodge twins. We supposed to be happy you brought a bunch of people like that to the White House. Man, get the hell on, man. The people that built the White House probably was cursing their ass off when y'all stepped foot in that building, bro.
Charlie been a racist unless you have evidence. Outside of that, you're lying and you're pushing conspiracies that got Charlie Kirk killed.
He is crashing out.
Charlie Kirk said that the Civil Rights Act was a huge mistake. He said...
Correct. You don't have to make up anything. Let his own words, quotes, and videos speak for him. He was a racist. And this Uncle Tom just doesn't want to admit it. But keep in mind...
Nah, he's a modern-day Uncle Clarence.
Officer Tatum is also the same person that said he's not raising his kids to be black because they're biracial. What does he look like raising black kids?
I have more similarities with white people than I do with some black people. So I don't wake up out of the womb at night and I think about my kids. I'm in a blended family. I'm in a mixed family. Kids don't wake up every morning and be, I'm black.
Charlie Kirk said that the Civil Rights Act was a huge mistake.
He
said that Martin Luther King Jr. was awful and not a good person.
I agree with him. As a black man in America,
that's on you. That's your prerogative to say that, but you don't get to say because you agree with him that somehow that wasn't a racist thing to say. You are not
racist.
Like, you are not the arbiter of what is or isn't racist just because you agree with something that is objectively racist.
You're not the arbiter of somebody having an opinion about a certain policy that's been put in place where he has evidence. When you cannot deny what he's saying is true.
A bunch of gibberish.
I can't wait to read these comments,
He didn't say anything. I don't know how much further black MAGA grifting can go at this point. They just continue to tap dance to try to keep their racist white MAGA audience happy. It's actually really insane to see. But shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting and thanks for watching. Y'all let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Also, make sure you check out the next video and don't forget to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes.
Say, dog, we gotta go through these comments. I hate this dude more than he hates himself. I don't know, bro. I doubt it. I don't even know if that's possible. Shout out to Dennis Johnson, though. Tatum thinks because he was a useful idiot for Kirk that Kirk was his friend and wasn't a racist. Tatum is the real life Uncle Ruckus. I mean, when he didn't get invited to the funeral, you would think that was the wake up call he would have received, but he didn't, you know? He's like, nah, it wasn't. Anyone ever notice how him and academics look alike? They gotta be distant cousins. He's a tap dancer. Ain't no stopping him now that he's hit the dance floor. feet gotta be on fire by now, bro. They corns and bunions. Charlie's last words were literally a racist dog whistle. Tatum is a disgusting liar. You know what? His last words, he was talking about black on black crime, and then following after that, it was some white on white crime that ultimately ended up taking his life. Kind of crazy. 427, when the white boys call out racism, the black man defends racism. We are in the upside down world. I called that out. That was the first time in my life I ever seen some shit like that. Perpetual. Always remember that he is talking about a black person killing Charlie Kirk. Yeah, it ended up being a white person. Officer Talmud is such a bootlicker. He's the type to wait in the line to happily get buck broken and give a thumbs up about it. Yeah, man. Kind of crazy. Tatum proved Stephen from Django was based on a real person. Hey, man, shout out to Jew Almighty, bro. Shout out to everybody watching. If we get at y'all on the next one.
Hype me up. Hype me up.